because I was trying to make a video about Israel Adesanya versus Dricus Du Plessis, and I was going to say, has Izzy's career been super overrated? Like, when you look into these wins, you're kind of like, a lot of these did not age well, and they weren't even impressive performances to begin with. I went so deep into that rabbit hole that I almost made a complete 180. And I also think, that is not like a hot take to say that he's overrated. Again, the pendulum has swung so far in the other direction. It's almost like he's underrated now. The way people talk about this guy, you think he's a bum. It's insane. The takes you hear about this guy. People are underrating Israel Adesanya in 2022. Yeah. Freaking mom just ruined my rant.
Ma, the Meatloaf! Fuck!
I think that this guy has almost become underrated. Dricus Du Plessis, he was a meme. That's how this guy came onto my radar. He was a prelim fighter with a funky name who was a white guy talking about how African he was. It was awesome. I loved it. And then you saw the way he fought and you were like, dude, what is going on? Is this a real person? The Darren Till and Derek Brunson, he fights back to back. That was his enter into the rankings and, onto like off the prelims, right? Dude, two of the weirdest fights ever. Like, it literally is like my drunk uncles at the barbecue. It's like a live footage of that meme. If you were to tell me that this guy, the way his career has played out the last couple of years, I don't think anyone believes you. There was the whole thing with his nose. He needed surgery. He couldn't breathe out of his nose. That's why he breathes with his mouth open. That's why literally in the second round of fights, it looks like he's completely out of gas. Man, I've been back and forth on this for a while, as I know you have been too. I honestly thought, so to finish up my original statement, I was so sure that Izzy was going to win once I started to look into this fight, like completely confident. I almost started making a video saying like, this is my lock of the century. Izzy's easily going to beat this guy, bro. And then I kind of flipped again. Like I'm gonna pick Israel Adesanya to win. I'm gonna pick him to win by knockout on Saturday night. But I'm not as confident as I once was. I think it's an interesting line. I honestly thought he was going to be a bigger favorite, but I don't think you could make a much bigger favorite for a guy returning. But who knows where he's at mentally? The Sean Strickland fight was so defeating. Like, he was clearly not taking that fight seriously. That's not an excuse. I'm just saying in the buildup. And then for him to perform like that, to just get completely embarrassed against a guy like Sean Strickland, a guy who was verbally abusing him for months leading up to that, and then to go out there and lose the way he did, a completely non-competitive fight. Everyone said the fight wasn't going to be competitive, but they said for the other way. The UFC, remember this fight that we're seeing on Saturday, that was supposed to take place last September in Perth. DDP couldn't make it, too quick of a turnaround after Whitaker. And then Izzy said, okay, like DDP's out, Strickland, you're in. Dana said, not so fast. We're not able to market that fight because nobody wants to see it because it won't be competitive. Dana was right. It wasn't competitive, but not for the reasons he thought. I don't think humiliation, embarrassment like that is easy to get through. Does Izzy have the mental toughness that he once did when he was contender Izzy, when he was the style bender? I'm going to say he is. I'm going to shout out Scotty Washington. That's our guy. Izzy's his guy. And we've all kind of, since UFC 236, been on and off the Izzy hype train, as I will say, because I'm going to call you out here, Mr. Stranad. You and I used to be Izzy fanboys back in 2020. Unfortunately, neither of us can say that anymore, but I'm going to turn the tables back on you. I'm going to pick Israel Adesanya to knock out this fraud of an African. Just kidding. Maybe, I don't know, but we don't play the race games. But Izzy by knockout. Please break it down for me, Justin. Talk to me.
Dude, like you said, man, there's so many different angles to look at this fight. I think it's what's making it the fight it is. On one hand, I look at Dricus Du Plessis, a guy like you said, who, dude, when he was fighting Whitaker, when the fight was first announced, I'm like, yo, this guy's got no chance of beating a guy like Whitaker. Come around to fight night, I'm actually telling some of my buddies to roll with Du Plessis, and it's just I don't know. I'm sick of picking against the guy just because his physical strength, his innate ability to just grind out fights, to keep going at his pace. Like, the guy is a dog at the end of the day. Like he finds a way to win these fights, and he's been in big time fights now in his last couple of fights, and he has delivered time and time again with wins. And you look at a guy like Izzy, right? A guy who, like you said, back in 2020 or 2018 when he won the interim title, we were fanboys, and then I'm gonna be honest, dude. I like Izzy. Is he cringy at times? Absolutely. But one thing, like I told you, I
Breaking
think
news.
I think it was a few weeks ago. I said, I still believe that Izzy is one of the best MMA fighters in the world. Like, yeah, he got dominated by Strickland, and to be honest, bro, you look at Izzy's last couple fights. Bro, he fights Strickland, looks terrible. He gets dominated. He fights Pereira. Let's be honest, was getting dominated in that fight. Lands the right hand, bro. He was getting beat bad, getting walked down,
Dominated is crazy, dude. Dominated is not
bro.
fair.
Pereira, you don't think Pereira was dominating that fight?
I don't think he was dominating that fight. No.
Okay, we disagree on that one. Then you go back to the fight after that was he loses to Pereira. Then the fight before that was probably I would say the worst performance of his title run against Cannonier, an absolute
Yeah.
snooze fest. So it's like
100%.
we haven't seen I mean, yeah, he knocked out Pereira. I give him the credit, but we really haven't seen a good Adesanya in a little bit of time here. And he's 35 years old. He's coming off this year layoff. In his last fight, he was absolutely dominated. All I'm saying is I don't know what type of confidence we're gonna have from a guy like Izzy going into this fight. I know he's going to act like he's very confident on stage and in the press conferences, but deep down, he's the only guy that knows how he really feels and how his game, like, you know what I mean? It's very interesting.
Dude,
And
you can go back even further than that, though. You just stopped at Cannonier. Do you remember
I
who was
know
before that?
it
Robert.
was Vittori or no Rob, who people thought and I'm one of those people. If you took bias out and really just judge that fight with no audience, no anything, I think you would score it 3-2 Robert Whitaker. I really do. Again, this happens time and time again with the UFC with guy, and I understand it. It's a business. Adesanya is a cash cow for them. If this fight is a close decision, it's going to Israel Adesanya. I can tell you that right now.
Before that was Vittori. Dude, we haven't seen this guy put on a performance, bro, since Paulo Costa.
Dude,
I
literally,
give him all
bro.
the credit in the world for the Pereira knockout. And guess what? I'm going to give him all the credit in the world for the first Pereira fight, right? Because he was beating Pereira
He was,
easily
yeah.
3-1. Everyone knows. Almost knocked him out in the first. But with how nice has that, or it wasn't a win, but like we've seen what Pereira does to other people. So it's funny that the Izzy fanboys and Alex fanboys have this back and forth because it's like, dude, like that is like maybe the biggest feather in Izzy's cap. Not only that he knocked him out, but that he looked as good as he did against him in the
Dude,
first fight.
in the fight, the only fight, the Pereira fight was the only fight that he has hurt somebody in since when, and that's the only fight where it was
Against
a one.
Paulo Costa.
That's what I'm saying, and it's the only fight that it was he knew for sure there was. Yeah, they had a little wrestling exchange, but neither of them did wrestle to train for that fight. Like it was a kickboxing match at the end of the day. Like, and that's the last time we saw Izzy actually hurt somebody. So, what is he gonna do against the guy that's way? I don't care what strength training Izzy's done.
I'm about to
DDP,
change my mind, dude. I
listen,
can't.
DDP is stronger than him all day, dude. We both seen them, or I don't know if you've seen DDP in person, but me and Scotty were at the McGregor fight when he snapped his leg and he was on the undercard. Bro, physically, it is not going to be close when it comes to just physical strength of these two. And it's like,
He's huge.
dude, and it's like, okay, do we see the Izzy that when again he's a great counter striker? Do we see the Izzy fall back and land these boom boom shots? Is that gonna put this guy out? The guy who hasn't been put out by who? Like I don't know, bro. I just don't. The more I look at this fight, I think if Izzy doesn't get him out of there in the first or second round, I think DDP is gonna start to walk away with this fight. I think he's gonna back Izzy
I'm
up.
changing my mind.
I think he's gonna back Izzy up. I think he's gonna be. You're gonna see it in the first round that he is the stronger fighter. I think you're gonna see it just like he had Strickland on the back foot. Shit, he had Whitaker eventually on the back foot and hurt with a jab. Like I'm just saying, I think the guy's a lot stronger than people think. I think he's gonna mix in the wrestling, and I think also what we've seen in Izzy, especially in the last fight, is when the fight gets hard. where's the dog? Where is the his coach told him like, yo, you're getting he knew he was getting his ass whooped against Strickland. Fought for a decision, fought to get out of there and just go home. Like, I don't know if he has it in him anymore. I don't like picking against Adesanya. To be honest, I think he's a great fighter. He's a legend of the sport. But I'm rolling with Dricus Du Plessis to get this one done. And I'm gonna go with Du Plessis via submission in round number 4. Dricus Du Plessis via submission in round 4. Again, all the credit to Adesanya in that. Like I said, I think his best chance in this one is coming out early. The first round, the first couple exchanges. If he lands something big in the beginning, I think we start to see Izzy get that confidence back. But if he doesn't have something good go for him in the beginning of this fight, I think he's gonna get ugly kind of quick for him, bro.
Dude, I honestly I am so torn, bro. Like I said this, I was way more confident about Bilal Muhammad beating Leon Edwards. Like I know that sounds nuts, but like I thought he was going to win, dude. I thought he matched up well. I thought he was going to beat Leon Edwards. Like I cannot tell you who's going to win this fight because honestly, the more I've just been going back and forth in my head now, like actually talking it out with someone, I kind of want to change my mind. But like, dude, how dumb would you feel if like DDP just gets clipped? Like every time he comes in, he gets clipped, right?
And bro,
that's what I'm telling myself. I'm like, dude, I would feel way more dumb if like, I'm like, dude, we saw this coming. But like, vice versa, I agree with you. And like, it's so hard justifying Izzy's career, man. Like,
it really is, bro.
Dude, it's crazy because like you look at he can't like determine who he's up against. Like I always say that with these guys, like you can't really hate on someone's competition, especially as the champion of the world. Like you can look at the fact that he beat Vettori and Jared Cannonier, who's 5'10" and 40 years old, and whoever else, and like obviously Whitaker is an absolute legend and like a top 3 middleweight of all time. So like that's a good win, but like you can't hate on him for the guys he's fighting, but you can certainly hate on him for the way he was fighting, right? Like it seemed to get like more boring throughout his career. And like he kept saying before these fights, like the way he talks just it's the way Strickland does it now. Yeah. I'll never forget before that Vettori fight, which again, the first fight was like kind of a close fight. People say it was a robbery. There shouldn't have been a split decision. But it was closer than people want to make it out to be. Marvin Vettori has not beat anyone. Like Marvin Vettori, I actually like Vettori a lot, but he never beat anyone. So and he also never showed any like skill on the feet or on the ground. Like, so that's a guy who is getting a title shot in Izzy's reign, like a deserved title shot too. He didn't beat anyone before that. Was his best win, Jack Hermanson, and he didn't beat anyone after that. And I remember Izzy going into that fight because that was coming off. He goes up to fight Jan Blachowicz, and he was a minus 250 favorite against the 205-pound champion. And everyone said the only way this guy could possibly lose is the way we're saying with DDP, right? He gets taken down. He gets out-toughed. He gets outworked, and the guy just kind of wants it more. And that's not what happened at all. Like Jan Blachowicz just beat him. He beat him in a lot of striking exchanges. He did end up taking him down. The size did matter.
And he took him down at will, kind of, to be honest.
Yeah, those 4th and 5th rounds, that's how he won the fight. But he was winning the fight before that. Like I think he won 4 out of 5 rounds in that fight. I will not rewatch it. You couldn't pay me to do that. But then he comes back. I was like, dude, this guy, he's going to answer the bell. After Romero, everyone was hate. We forgot about the Romero fight.
Other people pay.
After the Romero fight, when he had Costa, everyone was doubting him. And what happened? The best performance of his career to that point. And then he goes and he goes up for double champ status. He loses and he comes back and he's fighting a guy who Vettori has been claiming, I beat that guy. And Izzy's saying, I'm going to shut this guy up for good. Like, I'm going to make it look easy. And That's not what happened at all.
No.
It
Dude,
was.
Vittori got it back in like the third or fourth, and I thought like was gonna win, bro.
I thought he was gonna submit him. There was a time like he had in a choke, like Izzy had a good defense, but like he did have in a rear naked choke at one point, and like you said, he took him down a couple times, wasn't really able to control him. How do we think Vittori does against DDP? Like we just saw Vittori get his fucking face kicked in by Cannonier. Like
Dude,
I think it's
I'm telling you right now, if Israel Adesanya does not like get him out of there in the first two rounds, like land some significant stuff and like get the confidence back, like oh I'm this dude, like I'm telling you, if he doesn't do this early, bro, I think DDP might even get him out of there, bro. I really do think he will get this guy out of there. Who knows what Izzy we see? Maybe Izzy comes out and it's sharp. It's like you said, DDP overextending, Izzy banging like a counter. But that's his only way of winning this one. I feel like I truly think that's his only way. Is he gonna is he going to be able to do his little kickbox, like boring little point for 5 rounds against DDP? Is he really going to be able to do that? I don't know. I don't know, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so torn. I almost want to change my mind. I feel like I just have to go with Izzy. The line is moving too. A lot of people are on DDP.
And one other thing I do want to say, again, I never wish like injury upon anybody, but bro, when you watch an Izzy fight, the guy is so reliant on his kicks to like keep him alive and keep him at bay and like that he throws him so much in a fight. I'm just saying, against the guy who's so like bone dense like DDP. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if DDP checks a few of these kicks, something could happen to Izzy's leg. I'm just saying that I could see something like that happen in this fight. But again, I'm super excited for it, bro. I'm so excited for the fight.
Yeah, and another people comparing like there's no one to compare DDP to that Izzy's fought. Like you think of like a clunky, big, like jacked up guy, right? Like Vittori and Costa are both muscle heads, but like they're nowhere near as explosive or as high level like as this guy. I think those are all dumb comparisons. Even Blachowicz is like nowhere near as fast or athletic as DDP. Like he does look so weird, but like. Dude, I'm starting to agree with you. I'm not just going to change my pick, but like, bro, I think DDP could definitely get it done. I just think he in martial arts, in no other sport, people always say in football or basketball about somebody wants it more. Well, guess what? Like that's not how it works in football. It's not like somebody like just wills themselves to victory. Like when it's just one-on-one and it's literally fist fighting. Dude, it looks like DDP is just out. Like he willed himself to the Strickland win. I thought Strickland, after that fight, I thought Strickland was the better fighter. Everyone calls it a robbery. I thought DDP won that fight. I just rewatched it last night. A little bit closer. It all came down to round 2, whatever. But he just willed himself to win. He literally just did more. I think Strickland landed way more damaging shots. We see the way they looked after. But DDP was just more active. He just was like bite down on his chin, bite down on his mouthpiece and like throwing like a madman. So I don't even think we could say that like that's his style because he seems to go into these fights with good game plans. Like Strickland, how do you beat that guy? You meet him in the middle. You make him fight off his back foot. DDP did that. Whitaker, we didn't even know really what the game plan was to beat him because the only guy we saw was Izzy and he struggled to get inside. But DDP, bro, he was every time Rob with the low hands, that karate style, so fast coming into in and out of range. We saw him get clipped coming into range with a jab. Like DDP's smart. He's got a great camp, and I think he comes in with great game plans on top of being an absolute dog. God, come on. I don't know. I don't know who's gonna win. I picked Izzy, so I'm just gonna stick with it, but. Now everyone's picking Izzy. No one's picking DDP. Why is the line moving so much?
Dude, and the only thing that like keeps I will say about the Izzy part is like I just know that the UFC they obviously want this guy to win. They want him versus Pereira. 3 is such a big fight. Although I don't think Izzy would take it. I just think it's such a big fight. But again, they can only hope. They cannot go in there and fight for these guys. And dude, I am so excited for this fight on Saturday, bro. I cannot wait.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, that's That's our takes, man. Hopefully, again, not as confident sounding as usual. The best predictions on UFC YouTube, but we're still going to go 5 for 5. Both. Well, we picked for different people, but we'll probably still both go 5 to 5. Somehow break the space time continuum. But thanks for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. We'll be back in action with more episodes coming soon. Best breakdown in the business. Thanks for tuning in.